Welcome to No Way But North, where we talk about the miracles of recovery and the tools used to achieve them. My name is Cooper Lyons. My clean date is November 27th, 2010. As always, I can't say that anymore. It just doesn't feel right. But as always, I am joined by my co-host, Big John Meldrum, fixing his beard. Still on some vacation brain.
I really am, dude.
You just got back from vacation.
My
so
brain, I was trying to talk.
As you can tell, we're trying to start.
I was trying to talk. I just couldn't,
You were articulate towards the end of the last episode.
Towards the end, but, it was... I got mush brain, bro.
You're just in vacation mode. Tomorrow's going to be rough for you.
Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Waffle fries.
maybe a Coke or something.
We're not, as always, we were joined by Tanner.
T-Money.
You are a 3-time Northpoint alum.
Oh, yeah.
And just recently, a first-time Ashwood alum.
Yes,
right?
First time.
Did you graduate?
I graduated finally.
Last week.
I know,
Holy
right?
shit.
You were his counselor at one point, weren't you?
Yeah.
one of those
Listen,
three-
we talked, we had alumni, this last Saturday?
You weren't there last
It
Saturday.
was the Saturday before that. And, I made Tanner speak, and he's like... I told Tanner, I was like, I've been a part of your entire journey of trying to get clean. All 3 times.
Yep.
I know. I feel like I've known you guys for about 3 years now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, going on almost
About
almost
on
3
the
years.
dot, yeah.
Yep.
So Tanner's a Hawaiian native, correct?
Correct. I mean, I grew up in Missouri, but I lived in Hawaii for a majority of my life. So.
Hawaii sounds cooler. So
Yeah, we'll go with
Hawaiian
Hawaii.
native.
Yeah.
Also is very familiar with Seattle, and then has been in Boise for the last year or so, correct?
Yeah. Right.
Tell us your quote, man. I know that you have one in your head, so
yeah.
let's hear it.
All right. So you can't think your way into right living. You have to live your way into right thinking.
Which is very, very indicative of your story.
I feel like it is. Yeah.
Right? So, because tell us what you think of when you hear that quote.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Put you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, I know, put me on the spot. No, I feel like I always try to overthink things, and I've always tried to think my way into the way of living I thought I could achieve, and that was never the case for me. Yeah, I had to actually walk the walk instead of thinking my way into it.
Which I will say that you never did until this time around.
Yeah.
You talked a big game and then wouldn't do any of the work, and now you're making up for lost ground for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I am.
I don't have it to read this time, so I can't read it for you.
I couldn't even really hear what he said.
You can't. Gotta see here. He has me do it 2 times every single episode. You can't think your way in a new way of living. You have to live your way into a new way of living.
Thinking. Yeah, there you go.
You're terrible. Basically, what I hear is don't talk about it, be about it, right? It's just this idea of what we tell patients all the time. You can't sit here and say that you're going to do it and make promises. The way you're going to show people that you're doing the right thing is by actions, living affirmation or living amends.
Yeah. So all I think about is that nothing ever goes according to plan, right? I can think about and plan out and think about every possible outcome, and the one thing that I didn't think about or plan for is the one thing that's guaranteed to happen.
Yeah, usually.
Every single time. So, dude, we're really glad that you're here on
I'm psyched.
Monday after work.
Yeah.
You can tell you just got off work. You probably want to go home and shower and lay on the couch, but you're here with us, which is very also indicative of the recovery you've been living, because I know you were all about giving back this time around, which is honestly amazing to see. You're part of the alumni task force. You're helping out people. You want to do goat yoga to try to get people involved, which is also, look at the goofy smile. It's just perfect.
I know,
That's a
goat
perfect
yoga.
Tanner thing. Guys, before we get started with Tanner's story, please hit that like button, the subscribe button, tell one person about us. Tanner's stories help a ton of people already. Help more people, and just ask one person to listen and check us out.
Can I get my hand in a neon green pointing down, to hit the like button? I feel like we can make that happen.
Alex is shrugging at you pretty hard. He's not making any promises.
You want some waffle fries, buddy? Hey.
You're hungry right now, man.
I'm starving.
As usual.
Yeah.
So tell us about what life was like before when you were growing up in Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri.
Missouri.
Missouri. What kind of things? Was there anything that kind of you think led to your addiction? What was your childhood like? What was your family like? Things like that.
I guess my family life was pretty split when I was growing up. My dad, whenever I was a kid, moved to Hawaii, probably when I was 2 or 3. I don't even remember how old I was. So I pretty much spent my entire childhood bouncing back and forth between parents. Yep. And so it was
that's a big bounce.
Yeah,
too.
it was a really big bounce. It was really confusing because they ended up both getting remarried like multiple times, and it was a confusing bounce back and forth between families, between like friends, between everything. So it was definitely pretty different as a kid, I feel like.
Yeah. So did that manifest in any like? Were you a shithead when you were a kid?
Yeah, I was extremely rebellious.
Could you not tell? Like,
Whoa,
They can't tell.
wow.
I'm just
He's
messing.
such a stand-up young man.
I love Tanner now. Tanner warms my heart.
So what? I mean, like, how did that? Were you just rebellious in every sense of the word? What kind of things would happen?
Yeah, every sense of the word I was rebellious. Like I like started failing school like when I was in 6th grade, which I feel like doesn't happen. I would like
You gotta really try to not get it that meets expectations.
And then I just like wouldn't show up to my house for days and days on end. Like I just
At how old?
At 12, yeah.
Wow.
And when I was like 11, 12, I'd like sneak out my window and just like disappear. And then my mom wouldn't know where I was, and I'd come back. Friends' houses around the neighborhood.
And their parents wouldn't tell your mom?
No. I mean, they didn't know my mom because I would keep everything separated in my life pretty good, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some like hard addictive behavior at that young
I'm not even
age.
like, I just Tanner. I work for Tanner. I don't expect anything less.
That's nuts.
Like, that
I
doesn't
didn't
surprise
learn-
me.
Yeah.
I didn't learn to do that shit until I was like well into my addiction.
Wow.
And that was before you even used. sounds
Yeah.
like.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, me using followed pretty closely after that. I mean, that's when I started, when I was about 12.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So anything else that kind of led to, I mean, was there anybody in your family that used? Was alcohol a common thing in your household, or one household versus the other?
It wasn't really. No. I mean, I had a stepdad who would drink occasionally, but he wouldn't drink around me. But there was lots of alcohol in the house that I would steal as a kid. But like my
That liquor cabinet that your parents never touched
that
and
I
you
would
fill
just
with water?
pretty much, yeah. But more or less, I never really saw my parents or anyone drink that much. So, kind of a learned behavior, I feel like.
Yeah. So where did you? So I mean, talk to us about
Yeah.
the first time you used.
I was hanging out with like an older friend. Like for some reason, like I'd hang out with like juniors and seniors in high school when I was like in 6th grade. Like I don't know why they'd hang out with me, but yeah. And
That's a very Tanner thing, also.
yeah.
That's the only way I can explain that.
Yeah.
You just get along with everybody.
Yeah, and I just tried to seem cool and like I could fit in. So they asked if I like smoked, they asked if I drank, and I said of course. And I knew where to get alcohol, and because I would go take it from my parents' cabinet and stuff. And
I feel like even at that age, you probably just didn't give a fuck.
no, yeah, I didn't care at all. I didn't care
Like,
about
you
any
would-
consequences.
You would take the bottle and not even replace it.
I didn't even bother trying to replace it. Like
Yeah.
I took every bottle out of there. Like I didn't even just take one
like, I
or two.
took
I know.
every bottle.
Yeah, I cleaned out every single bottle and didn't even attempt to replace it. And it's like they knew it was me, but they couldn't control me because like I didn't care. Like
just did
I know
not.
I would just leave and then not come back.
Ground
so.
me and I'll
Yeah,
just-
ground me. I'll see you out the window again. It's pretty bad.
So what was your use like? So like that first use, were you hanging out with some older kids?
Yeah.
It sounded like alcohol.
Yeah, first use was drinking. Like first time I ever drank, I got hammered drunk. Like first go, and then like within like a day or two, I was smoking pot. Like every day. Like and it became like almost like an everyday thing. Like from the get, like there was no like slow progression of it with me. It was like instantaneous.
Was there any like thought process around it? Like was it like, oh, this is what I've been looking for, or was
Yeah.
it just like
Oh no, yeah,
it
was
just
like,
happened?
No, it was like this relieving feeling. This like calming sensation to me because I don't know. It just seemed like that warm fuzzy feeling they talk about, like
Yeah.
what I've been looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, that feeling that God-shaped hole, or
Oh,
that
yeah.
hole that you've thought you've had your whole life.
Yep.
Evan, our admissions coordinator, when he came on and did his story, he had one of my favorite quotes ever. Was if he felt like everybody around him had been given this manual on how to be a person, and he never got it. And when he used, he felt like he didn't need that manual anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's exactly how I felt. That's
Exactly.
the best way to word it. So, any questions so far? I feel like I have to check in with you, or else I just
I feel
keep.
like,
just
I feel like
go.
you already know all this.
Yeah, you forget. Me and T Money, we've been doing this for a while.
All right, well, feel free to jump in and throw
No,
stuff
I
if
got
he
you.
forgets something. You might know a story better than he does.
I mean, we'll wait for the later progression.
Oh no.
So, okay, so you start using it's immediately a regular thing.
Yeah.
So, walk me through high school. How'd that go?
Well, I mean, after that,
like,
I was in
moments?
Missouri at that point, and I was like not doing good in school already. I was so rebellious, and I got moved out to Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah, as a kid, and because my mom thought, or like my family thought, my dad could like shape me up, And
he was the hard ass.
Yeah, he's like the hard ass. Yeah, like the religious, like extreme person in my life.
Yeah.
So they moved me out to Hawaii to like straighten me out, which worked for a couple of years. You know,
oh,
like
really?
yeah, I mean, I went out there and he wouldn't let me do anything. You know, it was like I was under like
know anybody.
I didn't know anybody. I was under like a firm fist. Like he wouldn't even let me spend the night places. He like everything I was able to do before, I couldn't do any of it. Like
so he was a hard ass.
Yeah, he was a hard ass, and it worked.
Structure.
Yeah, but it almost made me resent him for it. You know,
of course.
like big time.
Yeah, because
like,
you didn't want to stop using.
I didn't want any part of the lifestyle he was living. You know.
Yeah.
Because he was big religious, right?
Oh yeah, huge. Okay. Yeah.
And were you going to church every Sunday?
Oh, Sunday, Wednesdays. I was a part of youth groups. You know, they had me in the whole 9 yards, man. Like,
I'm sure you just loved that.
Yeah. I got into it after a while, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like once you go to it enough, it becomes like part of your life. But it was weird, you know. I look back on it, and it's definitely pretty weird for me now.
It's not your thing now.
No, definitely not.
Okay. So, and then what happens? So you're living in Hawaii. You're kind of under your dad's thumb.
Yeah, and then I would come back because as a kid, I go from Missouri to Hawaii, and then whenever I was in Hawaii, I do the exact opposite thing. I'd go back to Missouri to see my mom during the summer times.
Okay.
And I went back one summer when I was like 15 or 16, and I didn't want to leave. You know, I was telling my mom like I don't want to go back. I don't like living with my dad. Like told her the whole spiel. You know.
Yeah.
So they said all right, but she at that time had moved to Boise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she ended up getting a job out here and remarrying. Okay. So I ended up removing out here with her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think it was like my sophomore or junior year of high school is when I moved out here finally.
So you were 12 and you started using.
Yeah.
And basically got in trouble, and then you went back to live with dad until you were about 15. So 3 years.
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah.
And then came back to live with mom in Boise. So don't know anybody still.
Yeah.
But mom's a little bit more of a softie than dad.
Yeah, she let me. Yeah, I could pretty much get away with whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I moved to Boise, it was like that constant thing where I've been moved around so much. I didn't know anyone, you know, and I felt like that like. I don't fit in wherever I go. Every single place I go, it's just like I'm always that new kid, always, you know. So I fit in with the crowd that I knew I could. Like I did whenever I was 12, you know, the crowd that used.
Yep.
And and that's pretty much where it took off when I was probably like 16-ish. Like
so when you were living with your dad for those 3 or 4 years, were you like wishing you could get high or drunk?
Yeah, I mean, I attempted to multiple times. I mean, like I had gotten high a couple times while I was there, but it was really sporadic, you know. It's like I couldn't stay the night any places, and my dad was like super on top of me, so like he'd always look at my eyes and stuff. Yeah. So I couldn't really get away with much, but I was able to while I was in Hawaii.
So it was always an
effort.
It
was always
looking, always ear to the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you found the crowd back in Boise. What happens after that? Sorry, you're still going to high school, or did you drop out?
No, I graduated high school, man. Wow.
Smart?
Yeah.
Smart kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
The worst high school ever.
Oh, no way. Centennial?
Yeah. What year did you graduate?
2012.
Oh, same year as me. Never mind. Okay.
Same year as you?
Yeah, I graduated in 2012. Saved the best for last.
I know.
That was when the world was supposed to end.
I know.
Mayan calendar. That was our class.
What high school you graduated from?
You went Boise.
Boise High?
Brave to the grave.
Surprised I didn't see you then.
I know, right? It's kind of crazy.
You guys probably were like running around the same crowds.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, because I got clean when I was like 15,
16.
16.
Yeah, not me. That's when it took off for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so then I moved, whenever I was here in high school, I feel like I just started, my parents would go out of town like almost every weekend. On the dot, they go out of town every weekend. So I was able to get away with anything. I got a car, I had money, I could literally do whatever I wanted. So I started drinking. Mainly I was like a weekend warrior at that point. Like I wasn't drinking every day, but I'd smoke pot every single day. Yeah. Like morning to night. Like I would smoke pot as much as I could. Mm-hmm. And then I just started experimenting with every other drug, because I was like, if I like these drugs, I probably like all the other drugs. So I literally tried everything I could get my hands on, you know. And at one point I became addicted to everything I got my hands on. And that's pretty much how it went all through high school.
But you were still being able to maintain. You were doing homework.
Oh yeah, I was doing homework. I graduated with like a 3.5, something like that.
Damn, I didn't do that even getting clean.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Listen, don't let it fool you. Tanner's a smart dude.
I never said he was
I used to tell him that all the time. Like, you do some dumb shit, but you're super smart.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a compliment or
you're so intelligent.
Yeah, it's a backhanded compliment.
You're so intelligent, but like you just do something like
this is an addict.
You just do some dumb addict behavior.
Okay, so was there anything that like sticks out when you think of like your whole high school career, your using career through high school, other than graduating with 3.5, being high the entire time? Oh, yeah. Was there anything that sticks out? Any legal trouble? Any like real I'm addicted, like this is a problem?
I hung around with the crowd that did all that, so I thought what I was doing was normal.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that my addictive behaviors were normal. I was like, this is what high schoolers do. I'm in high school. This is how we act. You know,
Yep.
I that's how I wrote it off. So I didn't even know I could have been addicted to something at that point. You know, I had never met addicts or been around anything like that before, so I didn't know. You know.
So as far as you know, you were doing everything right.
Yeah, as far as I'm doing good in school. You know, I'm playing sports. I'm social. Like I thought I had everything in life at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then moving out of high school.
Yeah.
Right. So you have even less structure now.
Oh yeah.
You can do even more of what you want.
Because I went to Boise State.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went to Boise State for half a semester. Yeah, made it halfway.
So 6 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. You know. Yeah, no, because I ended up getting caught up in some legal stuff in my dorm room. Yeah, like we tried like selling pot out of my dorm room, and a bunch of people got trafficking charges. Like it was a pretty big deal.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
So what did you get tagged with?
I got like minor in possession of alcohol, possession of marijuana paraphernalia, and frequenting. I think like frequenting
all
place.
Misdemeanors.
Yeah, all misdemeanors.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't give me any felonies. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the fallout from that? What happened after that?
Well, so I was like, that was like big news on our school campus, you know, because I was living in the dorms when that happened. And I was like ashamed because, like, I called my mom like while the thing was going on. My mom was like freaking out, you know, she was like crying on the phone, like, and it was rough for me to hear. So I was like ashamed to go back home. I was like ashamed to face my family, to like be like, I messed up, you know, I like can't go back to school because of this, like this whole deal, you know, because I always felt like there was this expectation of me to like go to school to be that, you know, person working the 9-to-5 job on, you know, and
be successful, make
be
good
successful,
money.
do I know that whole deal, the American dream, and I felt like that like destroyed that, you know, I felt like that destroyed my life at that point. So I was like too ashamed to go back to my parents' house, so I just went off the deep end at that point. I went and lived at a house in downtown Boise, and that's like really when my drug addiction like heavily took off with like hard drugs.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't just like alcohol at that point. It like changed to like, that's when I started using like heroin on a regular basis. I was drinking every single day. I was taking Xanax almost every single day and like mixing all of them together. So
partying, trying to have as much fun.
Yeah,
as you can.
I know. I just mixed every drug I could and just try to get as loaded as I could.
Yep. So were you shooting up at this point?
Yeah, pretty much like my first time using heroin, I shot up.
Okay.
Yeah, I
No
didn't
fucking around.
Yeah, I didn't mess around with that.
I'm not gonna smoke that shit.
I know. It's like,
bang that shit.
I know. Well, I mean, I saw someone do it because while I was in the house, I saw someone do it, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, that looks like how I want to feel, you know, like how he is right there. I was like, how he did that and how he looks like that. I want that, you know. And that was the chase after that. I was like, I want to feel like he looks like he's feeling.
Interesting. So it wasn't even your first high is what you thought he was feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So did that live up to what you thought?
I mean, in the long run, no. You know,
but no, like that. But like when you saw a dude the first time, you're like, and then you used. Did you get,
the first time you shot.
Did you get that feeling?
Oh yeah. I mean, I
felt.
Like? I didn't even know what to expect because I hadn't messed around with like pain medication very much at that point. But it was like the most overwhelming, like intensely good feeling I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Like
what they do. Heroin's really good.
I had never felt anything like that, and it felt like every other drug that I had been experimenting with. I was like, this is the one. You know, this is the one I want to deal with now.
Yeah.
So
and then obviously that probably started. I mean, that's what you did.
Yeah, that's what
you
I
chased that for the rest of all of your waking moments.
Yeah, pretty much. There was no gradual progression with that. You can't socially use heroin, you know. Yeah.
I love that. Fucking can't socially use crack. You can't just smoke crack.
I always tell people, you can't
shoot up heroin like a gentleman.
Meth.
Yeah, I know.
It's like I'm just gonna, I'll just use heroin every other weekend.
Right. You can tell yourself that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're shooting up heroin. You're ashamed to face your family. I'm assuming you're probably not even talking to your family. Your mom calls you every day.
My dad would call me like sometimes like 30, 45 times in a row, like nonstop. Call me in a row.
Turn off your phone.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't answer. They'd wonder where I was at. Every now and again, I'd send them like, I'm all right, I'm alive, type thing. But
so what kind of stuff started happening? Right, you're chasing heroin. Cut off your family, still living downtown Boise. I know you don't stay in Boise.
Yeah, no.
So
my life was chaotic. It was an absolute mess. It's like hard for me to even like piece like months together at that point. It was like the exact same thing every day. Like what illegal activities am I going to do to get like the right amount of drugs to put in my body to feel all right every single day? That was like everything, until I don't know. I think that lasted for like 5 or 6 months. So my mom finally sent me to Intermountain.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like my first go around. I think I was like 18 or 19 at that point. I can't remember.
Okay.
Sometime around there was like my first, but I like I talked to the counselor and like told her like, I'm not really addicted at all. My mom just thinks it's like really bad, you know, like gave him the whole spiel. Like, mom thinks it's worse than it is. I don't use that often, you know.
Which is totally bullshit.
I know, it was complete bullshit, but they, you know, I think they bought it enough, so they let me out after a couple days.
So you were just going to get your parents off your back?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the only reason, because I was like, they think it'll be good for me. But that was like also the first time I was ever introduced to like the whole idea that I might be an addict, that you know, the Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous program. So
yep. It's just interesting, because that was exactly what Amy was talking about in the last episode that we just recorded, was people constantly downgrade or downplay their use, right? And just say, oh no, I was just a little depressed, or I was a little overwhelmed and didn't handle it well, and I'm okay now. And it that's kind of plays into, or they play off the lack of knowledge of co-occurring and the lack of knowledge about substance abuse and that kind of stuff. So it was just an interesting parallel. Okay, so what happened after? Sorry, a little tangent. What happens after that? You leave Intermountain.
Yeah, I pretty much had my dealer pick me up from there. Yeah. You know, it was off. It was like there was no. I know it was off the races, and that was a bad one. You know, that's when like they're all bad ones, but like this one.
Some are
like,
worse than others.
Yeah, some are. Yeah, but it was pretty progressive. Like I think that lasted like 7 or 8 months until I ended up at Walker Center up in Gooding, Idaho.
Okay.
That was my first like full 28-day program, because at that point I was like, I'm definitely what they said I was back there. You know, at the last program, I'm like, there's no way I'm not an addict here.
So what'd you walk away from? What'd you walk away from there with? Sorry to think that sentence.
Yeah, saying it backwards. Not much, honestly, because I was still really young at that point.
You weren't open and willing.
I wasn't, you know. I got the idea of meetings, you know. I wasn't like, I guess, desperate enough to like go up and ask for a sponsor to like take other people's suggestions. You know, I thought like, okay, I'm gonna get my stuff back and then my life will be good. Yeah. And that's pretty much what happened. I got my stuff back, but then like I fell off, you know.
Immediately.
I know. Immediately after I got all my stuff back, but you know, it lasted like, I think I lasted 84 days out of there.
I mean, that's better than some people.
I know. It's better than my track record with these things.
See, here's the thing. Tanner, like, he'll go to treatment, he'll get out, and he'll last 2 or 3 months. Like, Tanner's not the one to like get out and relapse. Like, he'll last.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. So what took you out?
Okay, so I started getting a lot of money because I started working.
Okay.
And then I was bored because I was like, I'm not hanging out with any of my old friends anymore. So like one night I decided to go hang out with them downtown. And like they were all drinking, so I was like, oh, I can drink, you know? So then I started drinking.
It's not heroin.
It's not heroin, I know. But then I was like, oh, let's take some ecstasy. It's not heroin. But then it was
in
like
the same night?
Yeah, in the same night. But then like 2 hours after I took the ecstasy, I was like, well, I got to come down right now, you know? So I ended up using heroin. Like, all in the matter of 3 hours. I know. Immediately. It was like it wasn't. It was pretty fast. It was pretty fast. Yeah.
So how long was that bender after that?
Oh, that one was a long time. That one was years. That one was like from when I was like 19 to like 20 something.
And you were just like, fuck it, this is what I want to do.
I ended up at a methadone clinic somewhere in there for like 3 years, 2 years ish. But I was still using through that whole deal because like I don't know. I'm trying to manipulate systems, so I'd like get on methadone and say like the perfect dosage where I could still use but not withdrawal, and I just stay there, you know.
Just finessing the shit out of the system.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm exhausted listening to you talk about how to stay high. God.
It was exhausting for me doing.
I know, like people like. That's the thing of like a non-addict, right? So like, you know, I'm around it, surrounded. I've seen it, been, you know. But like to like think of like the day-to-day like hustle and scheduling, I'm like, bro, I can barely get up enough to put deodorant on and brush my teeth someday, let alone plan out my entire day
while going through detox,
while feeling like shit. Like, come on now, like I couldn't imagine it.
Not of right man.
No man. If I have a tummy ache, bro, I'm not getting out of bed.
You'd be a
guts
bad
hurt. I'm not going anywhere today.
You'd be a terrible.
Oh yeah. I already know. If I was ever an addict for anything, I would. Yeah.
I also feel like you're just such a big man that you would need so much.
Oh,
like right off the start, let alone with a tolerance.
Oh yeah. Listen, I always tell people, like, if I was ever addicted to drugs, I would be the worst addict ever. I'd be the biggest asshole.
Yeah, you'd get
ever
arrested quickly.
Yeah.
Could you imagine me in like an inpatient treatment like Northpoint? I'd be a train wreck.
You'd get kicked out.
I would. I'd be an asshole. Just to be an asshole. I'd like eat people's food.
I could see it.
Yeah, he would come up to somebody like Tanner shove them out of the
Shove 'em
chair
down.
and grab their food.
Give me that sandwich. Give me those waffle fries.
You the waffle fries today. Jesus.
I know.
Okay, so those couple years on the methadone clinic, that daily hustle, doing everything you can to stay high, stay at that moment without withdrawal, or that level without withdrawals. After that is when you come to Northpoint.
Yeah, Northpoint was like my first time, December of 2016.
Okay.
That was my first go around.
So that's what I was gonna say. So I know
December
we have
or was it
January 2017.
January 2017? It was January.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right.
okay.
That's like
Because you started coming there when I was an
Okay.
intern. I was still my intern. Like
Yeah.
I was like 2 weeks deep
Yeah.
in the Northpoint when Tanner came in.
Okay, so run me. So since we have 3 different admit dates, I want to just give me kind of the overview of the first trip and the second trip, and like the interim between them, right? So like what the recovery was like, why you relapsed.
All right.
Does that
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah,
and
well,
then we'll go more in depth.
I'll tell
on the
you
third
right
one.
now why you relapsed off the first time.
I know. I know.
And then we'll go more in depth on the third
Yeah,
one
all right.
that actually stuck.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, go ahead. So
All right.
first time you come to Northpoint.
First time I came to Northpoint, I mean, I've never been that sick in my life, really.
sick.
I know, I've never been
so
like
sick.
so sick for so long. So I pretty much spent like the majority of my time there, like in a bed shaking,
He detoxed for like 17 days.
something like that.
Really, I don't remember that because I
Yeah.
was a tech then.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, I was sick for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was like dating this girl at the time. I know.
Was it another patient?
No, it
Okay,
wasn't.
got
It
it.
was not.
It probably would have been better, but it was just bad.
It was really bad news for me. Yeah, it was really bad. So yeah, my life was like revolved around this girl at this time of my life, and I get out, and she didn't like that I got sober. She thought I was like,
Oh, we were talking about this on that alumni hike.
yeah,
That's right.
Yep. She she thought I was like acting better than her because I got sober.
So how long did you last sober?
Not long. Like this was like 3 or 4 days. It was like immediately after I got out, I went up to Seattle.
Where she was?
No, to go drop her off because I was like, I can't live with you anymore. It's too crazy, you know. So I drove up to Seattle, and it just was a shit show. It was a shit show.
Did you stay in Seattle?
No, I didn't. I drove up there one night, and then when I came back, I relapsed while I was up there.
Yeah.
I know. And then I came back, and I was going to Ashwood at this point, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was like showing up to Ashwood loaded and stuff.
course.
I know. I
As
was
one
like,
does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so that was a bad one because I pretty much came out and was using like right.
Because it
off
was a
the
quick
gate.
turnaround from you coming back to Northpoint.
It was August the 2017. I want to say, was it 2017 or was it 2018?
2017, because you came back a second time before I went to Ashwood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
yeah.
anything stand out in that 6 months? In the
Yeah,
relapse?
that's when I started doing meth.
Okay.
Like everything was all heroin
Yeah.
up until there, but
Opiates.
after that it was meth. It was like nothing but meth.
Okay.
Meth more than heroin. So it was bad.
Okay.
It was bad because I came into Northpoint the second time weighing like 115, 20
God,
pounds.
you look terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember seeing
Yeah.
a picture and being like, he looks like shit.
Yeah, I actually got admitted to the Intermountain mental health wing before they
Did you have a psychotic break?
Yeah, pretty much. I had a psychotic break and I was trying to check myself into like a detox there, and I guess they like took one look at me and they're like, no, like, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so then came to Northpoint second time.
Yep, second
What's the
time.
main thing you took away from that?
Don't move to Hawaii, right, John?
Comes in, we're like, what are you gonna do differently? We're like, sober living, right? Get you right, because you moved back in with your girl the first time, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, hey,
Okay.
sober living. He's like, nope. You know what? I just need to get out of Idaho. And I'm gonna move back to Hawaii. We're all like, that was his discharge plan. Nothing else. I'm not gonna do IOP. I'm not gonna go over there find a sponsor. I'm just gonna go over there.
I'll hit a meeting maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the whole time we're just like, still probably top 3 worst discharge plans I've ever heard at Northpoint.
Appreciate that.
I just came because he was just like, I just need to get out of here. I don't want to go to
Yeah.
Seattle. I don't want to go stay in Boise. I'm just gonna go to Hawaii. And we're just like, that's a terrible idea, dude.
Well, I guess like at that point, everyone said like you change people, places, and things, you know. So I thought like it was this place that was my problem.
Well, and that's like the perfect, like your quote lends so perfectly to that, right? Like
Yeah.
you're trying to think your way into this new way of living by
Yep.
like just making this plan that I'm sure in your head was like,
It was
like a
bulletproof,
grandiose
man.
plan. Yeah, but like, and you're not following suggestions, and you're not doing the things that you probably knew on some level you should have done.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So how did going to Hawaii go?
Well, I got out and relapsed within like 8 hours because I was like, well, I'm going to Hawaii, so I might as well, and I don't know anyone out there that sells heroin, right? So I might as well get one more in before I go.
Simplify.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a horrible.
Who was your counselor?
Dan Arnold.
Oh, okay.
I've run into him at meetings lately sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was it was.
I got him an outpatient.
Yeah.
He was not mine.
Okay. All right. So go to Hawaii, relapse immediately, and then obviously you kept getting high, right?
Well, I didn't know anyone in Hawaii.
Okay.
I didn't know anyone in Hawaii, and I
You
was
were just drinking in Hawaii, right?
Oh, a lot. I mean, I started using meth pretty heavily once I could find it, but yeah.
Okay.
But it actually started going to meetings right after I got there. I started going to meetings. I actually got a sponsor, believe it or not. I put together probably like 30 or 60 days. Okay. But then I relapsed there. Yeah.
And then you found the people you didn't know.
Yeah, I started drinking like really heavily. Like I've never drinking that heavily in my life, like consistently, you know? Like it was pretty miserable. Like I'd like have like pints of vodka next to my bed. I'd like wake up, chug them, and then knew I was gonna like black out. So I'd like lay on the ground because I had like fallen off my bed and like hit my head so many times. I'd like lay on the ground so I couldn't black out. Like.
And how old are you? You're 24, 23?
Yeah, I'm 20 right now.
No, when that was happening.
No, yeah, so I was 24.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense for a 24-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
That's usually something that happens when you're like 40 or 50.
Yep.
That's crazy. Okay. Anything else happen in that time period before you came back to Northpoint that sticks out?
Because you went to Seattle. You went back to Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I remember a story about some woman
it was bad.
from Northpoint, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to.
You don't need to say who it is.
I'm not going to share that one. No. All right. No, I ended up going back.
Did John know that story?
No.
Guess John's gonna know that story in a minute.
All right, so I went back.
Just tell a quick story.
All right, so anyway, I went back to Seattle. I got to give this whole spiel because I got into a fight with my dad, more or less. I got into like a fist fight with my dad when I was like blackout rage, and the next day I was like, pretty much like, fuck you, I'm like leaving, you know, I'm gone. So I met a guy in the meetings in Hawaii who had recently moved to Seattle because he was like in the military or whatnot. Yeah. So he said I could go stay with him. So I ended up going back to Seattle thinking I'll get sober and whatnot. And that was like not the case because at that point I already knew people in Seattle, you know. And you know, okay.
I can like feel his face.
I know.
So happy and
yeah. There was just this girl that I met in Northpoint in Seattle. It was like,
I knew about this.
Oh yeah, okay. He was a lot older. Okay, yeah, he was a lot older than me. Yeah, that whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Stupid.
I know, it's so bad.
I love it when we tell people don't do this. Don't do this. It's not going to end well, and they do it anyway. You're like,
my favorite is then when they actually get clean after that, and they can laugh at themselves with you about how stupid it was.
Yeah, it was ridiculously stupid. You know, it was. I don't know. Yeah, but no, and then I ended up, like, because I had never, like, overdosed before this, like, on heroin or anything, and I hadn't used heroin ever since, like, I got in Seattle and was, like, all, like, cocaine, meth, alcohol.
Okay.
And then I get back to Boise, because I end up running out of money, running out of everything. My mom, like, flies me back out here. And first time I used heroin was, like, a week or two after I got here, and I woke up being, like, revived by paramedics. And, like, paramedics, firefighters, police officers, like, all in the same room as me. And that was, like, scary, you know? Because I've never had anything like that happen to me. I always thought, like, you know, it's not going to happen. Yep. Plus, I did, like, such a little amount, you know? And it was ridiculous. I had no idea. Yeah. And it was, like, it was really an eye-opener for me. I mean, I would have thought that would have sent me back to rehab at that point. But at that point, it was, like, I already used. I'm off to the races again. Yep. And it's how it was. I started using every day, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how some people think, like, especially normies, sorry if you haven't heard that term, it's not derogatory.
Yes, it is.
Is it? I was like, what? Really? But like those epiphanous moments, those like turning point moments.
Wait, hold up. Epiphanous?
Epiphanous.
I'm learning all sort of new words today.
Huh?
Epiphanous.
Epiphanous, like epiphany.
Like you're having an epiphany?
Okay.
Is that a real word, or did you just come up with that?
Do you want...
Nope. We'll look it up after.
Epiphanous.
Those epiphanous moments are like they're not epiphanous in the moment.
They're not, no.
Right? Like you look back on them.
Yeah, I
and
look
you're
back, I'm like,
that was fucking crazy. Right? Like you can get revived by paramedics and have that be a life-changing thing.
Yeah.
But continue using and have it be life-changing 6 months later when you go to Northpoint for the third time.
Yeah, because like in the moment, like there was just one thought in my mind, you know, like
and then it's gone.
Yeah, it was like where am I gonna get, like, where's the heroin that I just had? Is it still in my pocket? Like it's like I remember that's what I was saying whenever I woke me up. I was like, it's still in my pocket. It's not in my pocket. Where's it at? And I was like looking around. Do they have it? Like what? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like that was the only thing I could think about, not the fact that I'm here and they're like in front of me.
Yep.
Like,
and then when you get clean, your brain like has remembered that moment, and you latch onto that, and that's like the turning point, even though it was months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So got revived paramedics.
Yeah.
Kept using for how long after that?
So
Anything in that time that was crazy or worth mentioning?
No, I was off to the races with that.
using
Yeah,
it.
same deal, you know, same deal as using. And yeah, no, and then I think it happened for like 3 or 4 months before I ended up at Northpoint again.
Okay.
But the time that was different with this one is like, no, I didn't tell anyone I was going in. You know, like my mom did. I had work like the next day. Like, you know, I didn't tell anyone. I was like, I need to get like my shit together. Like, remember I was like talking to someone and it like hit me like really hard. He's like, you know, I'd much rather not end up in prison or die. He said something along those lines, and like I was just sitting there talking with him, and it like hit me so hard I like broke down, and it was like, I was like, damn, like that is like so real for me at this point. And I was like, I obviously need to do something about this. And so at that point, I called Northpoint, and they were able to get me in that same day. And it's crazy, that kid that told me that, he ended up flying out to treatment the next day, and me and him had the same sobriety day. It was like,
That's
I
nuts.
know, it's wild, yeah.
So you still talk to him?
Yeah, I still talk to him, yeah, and he's still clean. It's crazy. Like, we both had like this heart-to-heart about like, this is like messed up. Like, me and him have both gone through this deal so many times, you know? And yeah, so.
That's cool.
It is.
That doesn't happen often ever.
I know.
People that go to treatment together very rarely stay clean for any amount of time and like maintain
I know.
a relationship.
Right? But,
So let's talk more about Northpoint. So
Yeah.
how did it go this time around? We can talk about Ashwood.
yeah.
What kind of things did you really learn and pick up? And
Well, I guess the biggest thing was I was like willing to take people's suggestions, you know, like I wholeheartedly took everything they said and did it. You know, I put everything they said into action. You know, like they said I should move into sober living. I mean, they've told me that multiple times already. You know, John's probably told me that a handful of times. And and you know, I finally decided to look into it. You know, they said I should get a sponsor, which I've never seriously done. So I like seriously went into it and I looked after it. You know, it's just, they said I should get a home group. They said I should get service commitments. They said I should do all this stuff that I actually thought, you know, like what do I have to lose? You know, what do I have to lose by giving this like a fair shot?
for a
you know?
year.
Yeah, I know, for a year, exactly, you know? And it was like, my life was so miserable before, and like, I hated everything about it. Like, I was willing to do whatever it took to change it, like, whatever it took.
So you had that crack of willingness, and
Yeah.
you actually followed with action.
Yeah, it was like a gift of desperation. Yeah, is what it was.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
was there anything specific that stood out at Northpoint or Ashwood going through this time around? Was there anything, any epiphanous moments?
Any epiphanous moments?
It is a word. He cleared it.
Is it?
We had Alex look it up.
Oh gosh. I don't know. There was a lot.
It's fine if there wasn't.
No, there was a lot this time. You know, I feel like there was. I feel like the main thing is like times before when I had tried getting sober, I had like only done recovery. Like I hadn't done like self-care things for myself or anything of that nature. I'd like only do recovery. I'd only work. I would not split the pie very evenly. You know,
Yep.
I would be one-sided to everything.
It warms my heart when I hear them like repeat things that I say during my groups.
You're like,
Split the pie. I'm like, oh, he listened.
isn't it crazy, John? We have the exact same scar from the same. Because you had a staph infection, yeah? Yeah, so did I.
That's why I was such a good counselor to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you, and that's one thing I will say is you have one of the strongest recovery programs I've seen of somebody come through Ashwood, and I don't say that often. I really
That
do
mean a
mean
lot,
that.
dude.
Well, it's true,
Yeah.
dude. Like you have since you came out of Northpoint, you.
Which time? No, I'm joking.
Right. Well, so this time around, like you've had a service commitment. You've at least chaired a meeting or poured coffee the entire time you've been out of Northpoint.
Oh yeah, I chair multiple meetings right now. Still, you know.
You consistently come to the alumni meeting every single time that like you're able to. And
Yeah.
you're not working. You're there. I see you talking to people after meetings, and I hear you doing things like going rock climbing and doing frisbee golf and like working,
being healthy,
and eating healthy, working out, all that stuff. Like self-care isn't eating cupcakes and like sleeping on the couch.
I know,
which you wish it is.
I know, right?
But like it's doing the things your body needs and your brain needs, and like you're really taking care of yourself. And then you're even involved in the alumni task force, and like you talk to people all the time. And I hear you talk about like step work and like the crazy shit that you did and how you're doing better now and the things you need to do for yourself. And that's really what I see different this time is like you're back to that quote. You're really taking the action, right?
Yeah.
Like you're doing the things that people need to do when they're in their first year of recovery. By the way, what's your clean date?
September 1st, 2018.
So coming up on a year.
Yeah, a little
months.
over 10 months right now. It's the longest I've ever made it by like a long shot. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I really don't have anything else to talk about. Anything you want to say? I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of things.
I mean, there's a ton of things. No, the cool thing about doing this, the podcast, or the video cast, or what would we call it?
We're still calling it a podcast. I think we just need to make it a show.
Video podcast.
The show, video podcast, whatever it is we get to interview people, and then the clinical side of things when we talk about things are great, but when we get to hear stories like Tanner, aka T Money, it's really cool to see as a counselor when you get somebody at their worst and then like they're coming up on their year and you're like, holy shit. Because there's plenty of times I wanted to strangle Tanner. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, but like seeing him come in the first time, a train wreck, and seeing him come in the second time, even worse. And then by the time he came the third time, I was at Ashwood, and so I saw him, and I think I just come off vacation. Yeah, I was because I had just come off from Bill.
Did you take a lot of vacations?
I've taken 2 in 2 years. Thank you. But no, I had just come off. I bought my new house, and like he'd been there for a week, and so I came back, and he was trotting the hallways in his socks for yoga one morning. I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" And he's just like, "I know, I'm back again." I'm like, "You gonna do it differently?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna do sober living." I'm like, "All right." And then lo and behold, he comes to Ashwood, and I'm his counselor. And
how'd that go, by the way?
Me being his counselor?
Yeah. I want to hear both. Real quick.
Well, let's hear what he has to say first.
It went great. It went really good.
I will definitely say Tanner was great. Like when Tanner says that, like he took recommendations and ran with it. Like he took recommendations and ran with it. There wasn't. He didn't have a lot of resistance this time around. He was a knucklehead, and.
He was a smart ass.
Yeah, he was a smart ass, and he initially got caught up in some dumb, childish drama that was unnecessary. Yeah. But I feel like that's anything because just Tanner has that personality where he's going to talk to every single person in the room, and so he got caught up. But I will say, getting caught up in that drama and that
you handled yourself well.
He handled himself really well.
Appreciate that.
Persevered, and like everybody that was down, like this big group of drama that was around him. Like Tanner outlasted every single one of them, right? So
I don't think a single one of them was around.
No. I mean,
unfortunately, it sucks.
It sucks, but like that's just the type of commitment that Tanner had, and like it was really cool when Tanner left Northpoint and came to Ashwood, and he started working out, and he started getting a little swole and puffing his chest out a little bit,
get some swolebriety.
But he really just took it and ran with it, and that's what we want to see people do. Like here's the path, do what you need with it. And he did it. And he chaired meetings, and he was part of the alumni group, and he has fun, and he's sober, and getting ready to move out of the sober living house, right?
I am, yeah.
So he stayed in sober living for almost a year.
Almost a year, yeah.
Almost a year, and now he's getting ready to fly the coop. So like,
and what step are you on? You finished 9.
Yeah, I finished all of them.
So now you're about to start sponsoring people?
Yeah.
Does that scare the shit out of you?
Oh, yeah, it does.
And now he's sponsored. Like, here it is. Like, I mean, just
that's
like,
what it's about.
Yeah.
He's doing what's necessary. I mean, that's what we do. And it's awesome to see him take that initiative. And, now he's getting to move on. Maybe one day he'll be working at Northpoint.
I know, someday.
Well, maybe.
Someday you guys will pay me for this.
All right, man. Anybody out there that's listening right now that might be struggling, what do you want to say to them?
That's a deep question right there. Jeez, hit me with a hard one, Oh, I don't know. It's definitely doable. I know I hear people say this a lot. Like if someone like me can get sober, like it's definitely possible. But just don't don't let it take so many times to get it right, because this shit is like serious. You can obviously die for this. I've lost so many friends for this, and it's not worth your life. It's a simple program. You just got to do the shit, take people's suggestions, and it'll change your life. It changed my life. So.
Well, I hope a lot more people take your lead, man, and follow your example. And I hope that a lot of people work the kind of program that you're working, because it really is an amazing one.
Appreciate it.
Guys, thanks for joining us. As always, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Tell one person that you think might get some value out of Tanner's story. Help us spread Tanner's story so he can change as many people's lives as possible, because that's really what he wants to do. He talks about it a lot. We appreciate you joining us. Once again, this is No Way But North, where we talk about the miracles of recovery and the tools used to achieve them. Thank you.
Peace.
If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, call 1-877-648-3125. The views and opinions expressed in No Way But North do not reflect those of Northpoint Recovery or any other institution or organization.